Hi, I'm Leslie, also known as Lely Jelly. By now you will have seen a lot of the celebration sets that you can earn when you place a qualifying order. And right back when we had our pre-order, I opted to get the Party Pandas and the Amazing You sets. I thought they'd both be really useful, especially the cute pandas following on from last year's chickens. So I made a card very early on in the celebration period, and I wanted to show you today my Juggling Panda. As you can see, he does actually juggle, and hopefully you can see that on the screen there. Okay, I've used the sentiment from the Amazing You set and the panda obviously from Party Pandas. I'm going to briefly go through, well, as briefly as I can, what I did, and hopefully you'll enjoy seeing how this card was made. So first of all, you need to cut half a sheet of our regular cardstock. Now I realise that the sizes are different for the US and for the UK, and I will put the sizes on here for you. Basically you're just going to cut it in half and use a half sheet. And when you've done that, you'll fold your piece, let me move that out of the way, in half. Okay, so that will be a half sheet. Next you're going to need a piece of silver card. I've got this one's got a little bit bent, and I'll give you the measurements, but as I say, I'll put them on here afterwards for you. For the UK, you need a piece 14 centimetres by 9.5, or if you prefer inches, 3 3/4 inches by 5 1/2. For the US, you need a piece 5 1/4 by 4 inches. Now these measurements aren't hard and fast. If you want a bigger border or a smaller border, you just adjust to suit yourself. You're also going to need a piece of white card, and that is going to be 13 1/2 centimetres by 9 centimetres if you're in the UK, or if you prefer inches, that will be 5 3/8 by 3 5/8, and in the US 5 by 3 3/4 inches. So that's a lot of numbers there. As I say, I will pop them on here for you, but you can adjust as you need to. Firstly, let me just explain the background. Now the background is shown on a fabulous video by my friend Kim Fee. It's called the Smooshing Technique. It's dead easy. I love it. If you haven't had a go, then please do. Now, when Kim did hers, she used a piece of our window sheet or acetate. It is quite sort of stiff, and I prefer to use just a normal cello bag. Sorry about the noise. Marked cello, because basically when I put it down I can't see it on the desk, so that I can't lose it. Good tip there, Kim. So let's start. I took a large block, and first of all, I shouldn't have put all the inks up there where I have to keep leaning across. Literally dotted my ink pad over in a random pattern, and then next I spritz, so I don't spray my face, and I take the cello bag and the white piece of card and literally just pick up some of the ink. Now this is where I found the acetate was a little bit firm for me, and I found a cellophane bag was much easier, because I could just pick and lift. It was so much easier for me. But as I say, it does work with the acetate, and Kim's instructions are brilliant. You know, do have a look at her YouTube, because it is really, really good. Now I should really wipe my acetate before I start with the next colour, and of course I've not got the wipes ready, so just bear with me a moment please. Okay, so let's wipe the block and wipe the acetate, and I'm going to turn it over because I don't want it to be wet. So ideally you'd give it just a minute or so to dry, or dry it under your heat gun. And you take your second colour. It's just to stop the colours muddying, but so just doing the same again. Nothing fussy. You know that I'm not really good at fussy, so here we go. Just quick spritz, bag again, and all very random. So if you give your first colour a moment or two to dry, then you won't be getting muddy colours. Okay, as you can see, I'm hoping that this is all in focus. I apologize if not. You can see you get a lovely sort of marbly type of effect. It's really pretty. You can do as much or as little as you like, and this is really quite a lot on here. I have already got one that I prepared earlier to make life a little bit easier, because it's like watching paint dry. So here's one that I did earlier. As you can see, it's got less ink on it. Now, when you've done that, and when your card is dry just after a few moments, you need to stamp and heat emboss the word amazing from the Amazing You set. It's really a lovely font, and I think it would be pretty amazing actually if I saw a panda juggle, so it seemed very apt. Did I actually show you those pandas? Look at those. Balloon, dancing and posting happy mail. What more could you want? Okay, so we've got the base done, the background. Now we need to do our little panda. Now, as you can see on here, hopefully it's got a bit of a texture in his body, and I did that by buying just some cheap sort of school standard crepe paper, and it does have a texture on it which kind of imitates the panda's fur, which I really liked. So you would stick a piece of white crepe paper just onto a piece of card, nothing fancy, nothing clever. I really do suggest though that if you're going to do it, that you use our adhesive sheets, because they make the job so much simpler and there's no soggy glue popping through your panda. That sounds a bit odd, doesn't it? Anyway, so you stick your crepe paper, just glue it to your white card and stamp your panda on. I did have a scrap here to show you, and of course it's disappeared under the mess. And once you've stamped your panda, you cut him out. So as you can see, there's the back, the white card, and there he's got his he's stamped in the crepe paper, and it's all glued together nice. It's not going to come apart with the adhesive sheets, which is just perfect for what we want. The next thing is that you need to actually stamp the panda itself onto your background sheet. So you've got some sort of placement guide for your crepe paper panda. That sounds odd too, doesn't it? It doesn't matter if this image isn't too sharp either, because it's going to be covered up. So let's just get him on about here. I may have put him a little bit high, but let's not worry about the patchy bits. You can cover them up if you want to with your black Stampin' Right marker. I'm not fussed because he's going to be covered up in a moment by this. And I need to just get some little braggy things out to pin them together. So just bear with me one moment. Okay, now these are old stock. We no longer do these little mini brads. This is just stock that I've had forever, but you can buy these sometimes called split pins. You can buy these in any stationers, and I'm just in a little tiny one. You only need one, so you know, it's quite simple, quite cheap. And we need to get an idea where to place the wheel. So I've cut out some window sheet circles just to make our spinning wheel, this part here. Now you can use your punch to do that. It's not the best. I think it's better to use dies if you can. They seem to be a bit more effective, a bit more useful. And you're going to put your split pin through your stamped pandas hat. So let me just split that there. And of course, as always, I've lost the acetate circle, but never mind. So I'm just going to stop this a second rather than hold you up and go and get it for you. Okay, so that only took a moment. So I cut some window sheet with one of our circle dies, and this is approximately 1 3/4 inches wide. Don't worry overly, you just want something that kind of works around the panda's hands there. Yeah. I also punched a piece of paper the same size and folded it in half. This, and in quarters actually, this will give you roughly where the centre of your circle is, so that you know where to put the pin. Okay, so I should use my paper piercer here. Okay, and yes, I should be using a foam mat underneath, but no, I'm not going to. So okay, let's just make that a little bit larger and make the one in here a little bit larger. Okay. Then what we're going to do is that we're going to colour in some rhinestones. Now, as you would imagine, the rhinestones will resist the coloured ink from our Stampin' Right markers, but you know, they're absolutely perfect when you colour them with our Stampin' Blends. So let's pour the Stampin' Blends in and put a bit of colour on those rhinestones. Okay, taking the rhinestones out, and I think this size here, the sort of mid-size, is probably the best size for us. As I say, the Stampin' Blends work perfectly on these, but they do tend to come up a bit light, so I tend to use the darker shades. And I colour from the side of mine, but look at how quickly you can get these done. So you want roughly half a dozen of these. As I say, I tend to use the side of the nib because it avoids the nib splitting. Can you see there the orange is coming out pretty light? Orange, that wasn't very good, was it? Dark pumpkin pie, that one was. So if you were to use the light colour, it'd be a little bit too light. And this one, I think, is this one Calypso Coral? This is dark Calypso Coral, but as you can see, still quite light. Okay, and that will dry really quickly because it's an alcohol ink in there. I'm just going to move those out of the way. Okay, and let's take our window sheet disc back again. Going to just quickly pop these on. So try not to put all the reds or all the blues together, or all the oranges. Actually, I'll use my grid paper there to roughly place them. Whoops, that wasn't very good, was it? But as I say, it doesn't have to be exact. And that one about. But do you know, I'm slipping and sliding all over the place. But let's not worry. You can always move these afterwards, which is probably what I'll do once I'm not sitting here being self-conscious about sharing with you. So roughly, that's not too bad anyway. And you'd also want to colour in his little hat here, I'd forgotten, on your cute little guy. So let's... Ooh, I'm letting it bleed through there, aren't I? Never mind, never mind. I'll do a better one once I get off off the screen, but you know, quick little bit. Okay, I'll redo him, but I'll just continue for now just to show you. Okay, so we've got our split pin, our little paper fastener, and just, this is going to be good, isn't it? That's it. Okay, so it's for our circle, and now it's going to go through the hole we made in the card. Okay. Ooh, that spacing's not very good, but you know, that's not too bad. It will do. It'll do for now. This is just a trial card. And next, I don't normally stick this together with snail, but because I'm going to redo a little bit of this once I'm off camera, I'm just going to assemble with snail for now on. I'd put something a little bit more permanent on here. Oh gosh, well, I was going to use the snail. Doesn't seem like it wants to work for me today. Okay. And we don't have a big border here. How's that for now? I'll do it for now. Okay. Bit of banging, a bit of knocking about, eh? And let's take our card. Ooh. Not so accurate, eh? There you go. Okay. So there's our little guy and the wheels turning, and as I say, it's always more awkward when you're showing people and you're really self-conscious, but there's our wheel. Okay, and the man with a cheap looking hat. So next we're going to stick him onto our card, and probably the best thing is that you actually stick the pads onto the card itself, so that you don't block the wheel, because that's the mistake I made at first and put one on his head, and of course it stopped the wheel turning. So, whoops. There we go. Okay, oops. And let's just place him on top. Now don't forget, I am going to redo him because of his dreadful hat, but there you can see the wheel will turn. It's not as tidy as this one, but it's fine. I'll just dibble about with the rhinestones. I'll reset those in place better, and I'll put a new panda on to tidy his hat up because he's a little bit messy there. So I hope that all makes sense. A little bit messy, as I say. I do get very self-conscious in front of the camera, so it's really just the idea here, and it does need tidying up a little. But there's my juggling panda, and I hope you find him as cute as I do. Thanks for stopping by today. Bye.